Before the skyscrapers, the highways, and the roaring cities before the United States of America was even a dream, this land was a wilderness, filled with native nations and vast untouched landscapes. But everything was about to change. This is the story of how America came to be, just as a collection of colonies, but as a united, independent nation. It is a story of ambition, oppression, rebellion, and vision. It's a tale that spans oceans, wars, and generations. In this video, we'll trace the birth of the United States from the earliest British settlements to the dramatic and bloody fight for independence. You'll learn about the political maneuvering, the brave revolutionaries, the battles fought, and the ideals that ignited a global wave of change. The road to American independence was not a single act or moment. It was a slow burn series of events that built up over decades. It involved merchants, farmers, slaves, Native Americans, soldiers, and kings. The story of America's independence is not only about war at Sioux, also about ideas, freedom, representation, and the power of ordinary people to challenge an empire. So join us as we uncover the true story of how America broke free from British rule and laid the foundation for the world's first modern democracy. To understand the United States, we must begin in the early 1600s, when European powers were racing to explore and colonize the New World. Among them, England was eager to catch up with Spain and Portugal, who had already established vast empires in South and Central America. In 1607, a group of English settlers arrived in what is now Virginia. They named their new settlement Jamestown. In honor of King James I, it was not the first European settlement in North America. That honor belongs to the Spanish, but Jamestown was the first permanent English colony. Life in Jamestown was brutal. The settlers faced disease, starvation, and conflict with local Native American tribes, especially the Powhatan Confederacy. Many perished. But the colony survived, thanks in part to the cultivation of tobacco, a crop that would soon become the backbone of the colonial economy. In 1620, another group of English settlers landed further north in Massachusetts. These were the Pilgrims, religious separatists, who were seeking freedom to practice their faith. They founded Plymouth Colony, guided by the famous Mayflower Compact, one of the first attempts at self-government in the New World. This colony, too, struggled. But with help from Native Americans like Squanto, they survived and celebrated the first Thanksgiving in 1621. Over the next century, more colonies were established, 13 in total, stretching from present-day Maine to Georgia. These colonies were diverse in origin and purpose. Some, like Maryland, were havens for religious minorities. Others, like the Carolinas, were built for economic profit through plantation agriculture. By the early 1700s, the British colonies in America were flourishing. They were mostly self-governing, with local assemblies and elected leaders. However, they remained under the authority of the British Crown, which appointed governors and expected loyalty and taxes in return. Life in the colonies was vastly different depending on where you lived. In New England, small towns and Puritan values dominated. In the South, wealthy planters owned large estates and relied heavily on enslaved labor. In the middle colonies like New York and Pennsylvania, there was a vibrant mix of cultures, religions, and trades. One of the darkest aspects of early America was the growth of the transatlantic slave trade. Africans were kidnapped, sold, and shipped across the ocean to work on plantations in the Americas. Slavery became deeply embedded in the southern colonies, where crops like tobacco, rice, and indigo demanded intensive labor. The economy of the colonies was tightly linked to Britain. Colonists shipped raw materials like timber, furs, and tobacco to England, and in return received manufactured goods. This economic relationship was regulated by a system called mercantilism, which aimed to enrich the mother country. But beneath this economic success, tensions were quietly building.